Right. Call the meeting to order. Stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance if you are able. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Mr. Hensley is absent. Mr. Raymond, present. Mr. Penrod, here. Mr. Firestone, here. Mr. Booker, here. And Mr. Brubaker is absent. And I am here. Do we have any additions or deletions? No additions or deletions. We invite hearing of patrons.
And I have a 8th grade cross country guy, and I just wanted to highlight something that I don't know that we all noticed happened at MCS this weekend. It was the Manchester Home Invite, and I don't think we realize what Jody Sarver, our NHS math teacher, brings to Manchester, the community, and Manchester Community Schools. There was 1,050 athletes on property, 125 coaches, 30 volunteers from the school. We parked 500 cars, and counting with family and friends, we estimated over 3,000 people at a sporting event right here at Manchester. The feedback we got from all the coaches and family was incredible about our course, how it's set up. Jody does all of that. What he puts together is absolutely incredible. He takes care of that course. He sets it all up himself. So I just want to make sure that we highlight that and give him some recognition there because it's just an awesome thing.
As we approach the upcoming elections, which are just 8 weeks away, I want to highlight several important areas where our school could see some improvement. And here are some of the key questions I'll be considering about the candidates. Will they consistently attend meetings and be actively engaged in board activities? Will they use their positions responsibly and with integrity and not for personal gain or influence? Will they take responsibility for their decisions and actions and be open to community feedback? Will they acknowledge errors and take steps to correct them, demonstrating a commitment to improvement? Will they advocate for necessary changes and stand up for what's right, even when it's challenging? Will they foster a supportive environment for staff, actively seeking their input, and encourage innovative ideas for enhancing our schools? Understanding these qualities in candidates can be challenging, which is why hosting a candidate forum is so valuable. Our community has hosted these events in the past, and they're crucial for several reasons. Informed decision-making, our school board plays a significant role in shaping our education system, and a candidate forum provides voters with a direct opportunity to hear from the candidates, allowing us to make well-informed choices based on the plans and qualifications of the candidates. Transparency and accountability. The forum ensures that the election process remains transparent and that candidates can be held accountable to the public. It offers a platform for candidates to present their platforms and for the community to engage in a meaningful dialogue with them. Community engagement, a candidate forum fosters active community engagement and participation. It allows parents, teachers, and residents to better understand each candidate's stance on key issues while promoting a sense of involvement and ownership in our education system. Voter confidence. With only 8 weeks into Election Day, it's essential for voters to have the chance to interact with candidates in a public setting. A forum will help build confidence in the process and ensure decisions are made based on comprehensive and balanced information. given the tight timeline, I would strongly urge the school board, along with possibly the News Journal or other community organizations, to take the lead in organizing this important event. The involvement will be crucial to ensuring the forum is well publicized and accessible to all. Let's swiftly provide our community with this opportunity to make informed decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other patrons? Moving on to presentations, Mr. Baldwin.
Good evening, board members, attendees, and then greater community at large. I'm Tommy Baldwin. I'm the principal at Manchester Intermediate School, and I'm here tonight to, recognize and honor our former custodian at Manchester Intermediate School, Lanty Lar, for his service to the corporation, to the community. Lanty couldn't be here tonight, but I texted him, and I hope that he's watching either live or that he will watch this sometime later, because he certainly is an individual that deserves recognition. 36 years is hard for me to rationalize because it's literally my entire lifespan at this point. But 36 years is also the amount of time that Lanty served this district. Lanty worked for 2 years here in town, and then he spent 34 years at the intermediate school when it was originally known as Laketon Elementary. And he's been a custodian there for his entire lifespan. He's seen 6 administrators. He's seen hundreds of teachers, assistants, thousands of students pass through those doors, and yet he's been a constant for that entire time period. And he was a constant for me. As a young administrator, it was very helpful for me to have a veteran experienced custodial staff. Between Lanty and Dwight, they knew the setup for all the big events. They knew the way the cafeteria needed to look before and after lunch. They knew for back to school night the way everything needed to be. And that kind of dependability was crucial for me as a young administrator because I didn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. And Lanty was very instrumental to me both in my early years at MIS and then along the way. He was never shy about giving his opinion or giving ideas, but it always came from a place of him wanting to make sure that things were done the right way. Lanty was always willing to help. We've changed a few things over my 5+ years at MIS. And one of the biggest ones was adding 6th grade sports last year. And for Lanty, that meant that there was going to be some increased responsibilities, especially in the evenings when he was, cleaning classrooms. He'd have to come and attend more down to the gym and the areas where we had concessions and we had people in and out. He didn't even flinch. He said, "What do you need me to do?" He'd be the guy that was in the gym setting up the volleyball pools after PE class before practices and games. He'd be the guy that brought out the dust mop and would get the floor set up. He'd say, "Hey, do you need me to get the scores table set up? Hey, do you need me to get the chairs out?" If it needed to be done, he did. And he didn't want recognition for it. His recognition was the kids being able to have those opportunities and the kids being able to participate. And that's what it comes down to. In the office sometimes, and Shrek is one of my favorite movies, but there's a quote in there, and Shrek says, "Ogres are like onions, we've got layers." And Lanty definitely had a few layers, okay? But once you got past that exterior, you knew that Lanty was a guy that loved kids. There are very few of us that make it 5, 10, let alone 36 years in education. And make no mistake, custodians are as much in the education business as the principal or the teachers. He loved kids. You'd see him pop into the gym and watch the kids playing ball. He'd joke with the kids when they were putting their trash away at lunchtime. He, going out to the buses, he'd give them a joke or two. And the kids knew that his heart was in the right place. And that's what I hope and know that Lanty's legacy will be for this district. He worked his butt off for 36 years. He provided a space and an opportunity for literally every kid that walked through those doors to be able to do the things they love. love to do. And he's a guy that has been an asset to this district, and he's earned our respect and my admiration for a great career. I hope I make it 36 years in this profession, and ultimately he is going to be somebody that I miss and that I know my staff will miss, and that I hope this corporation realizes just what a great employee he was. So, Lanty, when you watch this, we love you. We wish you nothing but the best in your retirement, and you've earned it. So if we could give a round of applause for Lanty and the state Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Financial reporters?
Good evening. It's up, so that's fine. Again, you've seen this before, so I won't spend a lot of time on it. Going through, this is the education fund, and if you look at our projection, and I'll go through the top numbers, I'll point out something when we get done here. If you look at our projection, what we're anticipating month end for August was 1.1, we ended up at 1.4. So we're heading in the right direction. Each month we're doing a little better. What makes this unique was August was a 3-pay month. And we also picked up all the people that we had 3 pays. Our last pay from Esther, which was then paid through rainy day, was first paid in August. So everybody is now on payroll for the second 2 pays in August. So I would point out one thing. If you go and look at benefits, this is my projection at $352,000. Our actual expenditure is $151,000. That's the true expenditure amount, but we had some additional revenue that was generated that was in our benefit package that was applied to August. So I think part of it was just misguess on my part, but part of it also was had about $100,000 in revenue that was carried over, which also helped. Any questions on the education fund? Okay. Operations, not so rosy, but so coming down, projected being negative 295 for the month. We actually ended up at negative 284. When you look at what I projected originally in December, at this point in time, we're going to be short over 500,000. So yes, we're down, but we're not down there as much as I originally projected. And even for the month, we're 10,000 less than what I thought we were going to spend. So even though it looks bad on operations, again, we only get paid twice a year in operations. That's, again, tax draws May and December. My hope is that we continue being, change this a bit. If we're following this pattern, my original thought was we're going to have to transfer additional revenue out of education operations in December. I'm hoping we don't have to do that. Or if we do, it's going to be far less than what I projected, because I projected about 300,000 transfer year end. So everything's heading in the right direction. Again, we were sending all this down to DUAB. We've not heard anything from them other than they liked what we're seeing, what they're seeing. So, any questions on the financials? I got a couple other things I'd like to discuss before I get done.
So we collected the one disbursements in July. Is that correct?
For tax row?
Yeah.
The paid in May, we collected in June.
June. Okay. So does this show how much we have in operation in that bank fund, or is this just so we've spent all of that already?
Yeah, you're on deposit 2 months out of the year.
Oh, that's right. That catches up. That's right. My fault. Okay.
Now, next year, well, this is a good transition. How's that? Thank you.
You're welcome.
So next year, what we're looking at in our budget, we have an operations fund that we will be borrowing using in a bond bank. So we'll be borrowing funds for operations and also debt service. So we'll borrow that in January. So these numbers will be positive throughout the year, and we'll make payment back to that fund, to bond bank, in June after we get our May tax draw, and December after we get our tax draw. So we'll actually be cash positive next year instead of looking like this all the time. Okay, that being said, the next thing I would like to do is have the president open the budget hearing. This is a two-step, number 2 of a 3-step process. So last month we had permission to advertise the budget, which we did. Men loaded up the kicking plate. We had no additional information since that permission advertised. Count day is 1st of October, so that's when we get our first true blessings for where we're at ADM-wise. We do have our assessed value, so we plug that in a little bit. The problem with the budget forms is once you hit submit for your advertisement, you can't go back and play with the forms, which I wish they would allow, because when we did the advertisement, we didn't have our true assessed value yet. Now we do. Now we'll be able to go back in and say, okay, here's our assessed value, what's the rate going to be. Then we plug in the kids in October, we go back and do that. System doesn't allow us to do that. So at this point, once we make the advertisement, after the hearing tonight, your next step is the budget adoption, and then after that's adopted, then it goes to DLGF, Department of Finance. They'll actually run the budget, send it out sometime in October, sometime in December, and we'll have 10 days to approve or make modifications. We can reduce it, we can increase it, once we get DL to approve for it. So that's a long story short. Any questions for me for the budget? Because the next step would be to open the hearing for the budget.
Consider it open.
Next, is there anybody who'd like to come forward on the advertising budget?
Make a motion to close the meeting.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And if anybody has any questions, just give me a call. We're happy to answer anything you may have. We don't have any action to take tonight for the first mortgage bond. We did have a hearing with the holding court members. That was the next step. We have a call next Tuesday with Tony and I with Standards & Poor. That is their due diligence call. It'll be about an hour and a half to go through who we are, what we're doing, all this good stuff. We don't see any problems with that. Right now, they're anticipating sale sometime 1st of October, with actual proceeds being delivered to us sometime late October, early November. So things are going well in that regard. Next thing I have, this has not been done here, at least not consistently. This is a conflict of interest disclosure statement that we're going to have. Mr. Cass already signed his. We have, for you board members that have personnel in the district, I'll have contents for you to sign for tonight. Thursday, we will be reviewing this with the teachers. My recommendation is we have anybody who is employed and have any family members living in the district, working in the district with some conflict of interest form that has no bearing. It's an old attorney that I used to deal with. This was his belt and suspenders approach to life. He said if you have anybody who works in the district, a team, husband, wife, father, mother, son, mother, whatever that may be, haven't signed a disclosure statement, it just removes all questions as far as who and what, where. What will happen then is we'll make a list for you, we'll put all this together, we'll present that list in October, and essentially we'll identify everybody who has relationships within the district. You simply acknowledge that, it's not an approval, you simply acknowledge it. Then we keep that on record, and it doesn't prevent anybody from taking any action. So if you have a spouse who works in the district, you're sitting on the board, is simply a disclosure that you have that conflict, does not prevent you from voting. The only thing that you have to worry about is if there's a direct conflict, you have internally the right to abstain. And that's all it is. So, with that being said, I will pass these out.
Jeff, one question on that. Did I hear you say you work in the district and you have a child in the system?
Working. You have to be employees.
Okay.
Not enhanced. And we try to make this as simple as possible, so we highlighted the areas that need to be filled out. So the first is the name and address of who you are. The second is who your contract may be with. And then the last page is your signature. Everything else can be done. Okay. And my next summary is leave down to whatever you're welcome.
Let's turn that in at the end with all the other signature pages.
Mr. Council, would you like me to go ahead and get 6.2?
Yes.
Okay. The last thing I have, if you recall, last year we started talking about ESSER 3. ESSER 3 was federal dollars came in for COVID, and we had a number of employees that were being paid from that fund. We exhausted that fund 1st of May, and I talked to you for several months now that we're going to make payroll for those people because we had May, June, July, and one pay in August that would have been paid out of ESSER, but ESSER was gone. So we went and made payroll, and we took it out of rainy day. Rainy day did not have an appropriation in our 24 budget. So what I needed to do, Randy, one on. So this is the appropriation request. Whereas it's been determined that it's not necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget, be it resolved, School Board of Manchester Meeting School of Ashley County, Indiana, that for the expense of taxing units finding additional sums of money hereby appropriated out of the funds named for the purpose specified below. Now, you're not spending new money. This is money we already have. It's simply not been appropriated. So think of it as money sitting in a bank account, a savings account, and you need to move it from savings to checking to use it. So that's what we're doing. So what we're taking is out of the rainy day fund, $86,347.41. That's exactly what we spent on payroll for the people who were being paid through ESSER before. It was being paid to the education fund, salary and benefits, exactly the same amount. So if you are accepting of that, I just need a motion to accept, and then the resolution will be passed for your signature.
So entertain a motion and a second to make a motion for additional appropriation. Mr. Penrod. Mr. Raymer. Discussion. All those.
What is, just curious, what's the rainy day fund amount right now?
Amount is just short of $500,000.
Okay.
We had 590 in it.
Okay.
580.
Okay.
The hope is that we will replace this money and hopefully a little bit more than that where we need it to refill budget.
Thank you.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2, 3, 5. 5-0.
All right, you have the forms in your packet, so as you go through, we just sign on the left-hand side of the good. Any questions for me? I have to sign it twice. Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Consent items.
Sure. Consent items, claims and minutes are attached. We have resignations. One resignation, junior high assistant musical director, Dale Oinger, junior senior high school. We have no grants this month. Donations. Someone would like to read the donations?
We have $100 to MIS for student activities from an anonymous donor. $400 to MCS, special education classes from an anonymous donor. $200 to the junior senior high school FFA program from an anonymous donor. $384 to the junior senior high school library and audio visual program from the MJ SHS Library and Audio Visual Endowment facilitated by Community Foundation of Wabash County. $500 to the junior senior high school boys soccer program from HERP Development LLC. $1,000 to the junior senior high school cross-country program from an anonymous donor. $1,000 to the junior senior high school FFA program from Huntington University. $1,422 to the junior senior high school football program for coaches, shirts, and jackets from Burgess Information Technology Incorporated. $5,006. Thank you very much. Very appreciated.
Thank you, Brian. Our next facility rentals, Old German Baptist Church, youth group, October 27th, from 12 to 8. I believe they've done this in the past, utilized the facilities in the past, utilizing cafeteria, gymnasium, common area, and kitchen.
Make a motion to.
We can approve all. That's only voting on it.
Take a motion to approve all the consent items together. Approve. Ms. Penrod, Mr. Pierce goes for the second. Any discussion?
I was looking, did we approve the rental last month, or is that a different one?
I don't recall.
Oh, well, it might be a different, let's see, I'm looking at the last month. September 1 is the 4, or is it October?
If we did it, it's for the October date, we'll be double approving.
Yeah.
You're double approving.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. 5-0.
The next recommendations for approval, employment, Gail Wallinger, senior high musical director, Miss Tiger, senior high unified flying football assistant, Irby Yard, senior high school spellbook sponsor, Sarah Newton, senior high assistant junior high musical director, Mackenzie Smith, MIS, 4-hour custodian, Olivia Chavez, senior high assistant instrumental music, Don Hernandez, senior high volunteer high school soccer assistant, Andrea Parker, senior high volunteer junior high cheer assistant.
Motion approved. Mr. Penrod. Second, Mr. Pierce-Stokes. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next is 6.3 wireless device prohibition policy, second reading. Second reading of policy required by the state of Indiana. This policy is verbatim from the state of Indiana. It's implemented effective July 1st. The possession of and using wireless electronic device which is portable or capable of providing voice, messaging, or other data communication between two or more persons that includes cellular phones, tablet computers, laptop computers, digital cameras, and/or gaming devices in a manner which constitutes an interference with the school purpose or educational function, an invasion of privacy or an act of academic dishonesty, where it's profane, indecent, or obscene, prohibited during instructional time. This rule is not violated when the student has been given permission from a teacher to use a wireless device for educational purposes during instructional time, to use a wireless device in an emergency or to manage a student's health care, or to use a wireless device as part of the student's individual education plan, survival floor plan. In addition to discipline students who use a wireless electronic device in a manner that violates this rule, may have the device confiscated by school administration, such as to return to a parent. Legal reference code, Indiana Code 2026-540.7. Again, that is straight out of code. Mandatory for all schools to adopt the policy. And this is the second read on that policy.
Motion approved. Mr. Penrod,
I'll
motion
second.
approved. Mr. Booker, second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is approval of it's our board policy 3220 teacher appreciation grant. You do this yearly. The DOE provides funds to teachers, a teacher appreciation grant. There's a criterion, which is in our policy, and there's criterion relating to the distribution of those funds when they receive. So what you're approving is for me to proceed in implementing the distribution when the funds are received. We have 20 days from the time we receive the funds to distribute those funds to the teachers in accordance with the policy.
Mr. Raymer, motion. Mr. Penrod, second. Discussion.
One question, did we get that last year, that grant? I don't recall.
Every year that grant is approved.
Okay.
It has to be, basically it has to be reviewed by the board and get permission to distribute those funds in accordance with the guidelines for distribution.
So not just a policy, but we didn't get the grant last year for it.
The policies are in place.
Okay. When do you anticipate those funds coming?
You would ask me a trick question. It kind of varies.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't come when they say they're going to come. Seems November seems to be a time when we often get them, but once we get them, they notify us what the amount is. We figure out distribution. We share that in discussions, and then within 20 days we have to make that distribution of those funds.
You mean it's not convenient and easy? Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, and I'm sure Mr. Booker will address this too. Well, I can start off. I made mention several months ago, and then Mr. Booker brought it up again, I think in the last board meeting. NIPSCO is looking to acquire 0.99 acres on the north end of the Parkland Career Center for the purpose of running a gas line. It's an easement that will have 3 access points on it, but we will also control that land to be able to drive to go across that land. The original offer, I believe, was $25,000. They did up that to $32,500 for the 0.99 acres. This would be us approving, and all the boards that are on career are addressing this in the month of September, but making a motion to approve the purchase of that land for NIPSCO to purchase it for the purpose of that gas line. The alternative to not selling that land would be them going down the middle of the road, and that's not ideal. And this land is not land that is, it will still be usable, it will still be tillable. It's a 20-foot strip.
There will be 2, if you can see it on here, there'll be 2, valve easements, or valve accessible, above ground parts, along the road. So I believe I shared the document as far as the map, so you can kind of see what we're talking about. Any questions on any of that?
need to approve it.
Yes, every school board has to approve this, or,
Be a motion to approve the,
so I would,
the sale of the land.
so I guess starting, total compensation is $30,240. It's $32,000 an acre, but because all of that, we get half of that for some reason. So it's, I don't know the rule behind it, but we get half of that. And then the 0.49 acres is also at 32,000. We get half of that. So total 30,240, which would be divided up between the 5 school corporations. But at the next board meeting or the next board of managers meeting, I might, with direction from you guys, I might ask, can we just put it into the roof fund or something of that nature? Because otherwise, it's what, $7,000 a school, maybe $6,000. So
I actually think at your guys' next board meeting, there might be a discussion about putting that money into the scholarship fund.
okay,
And utilizing the money that is
or different
set
ideas.
aside in the budget, like the $180,000 for the roof, which would lessen the portion that each school district would have to pay for the roof project.
Just leave it there for some reason and do something with it there instead of dividing little funds up between the 5 schools. So anyway, so the first thing we need to do is, if you want to make a motion and approve the $32,000 an acre, that's what we need to do, and we want to sell it. So anyway.
I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Penrod,
I'll second it.
Mr. Baker. Any discussion?
Like to help out for meter box, so I think this is going to directly impact their expansion, so.
This portion is also going to help the rest of the flow of Wabash. Because of that, actually, northeast side that they're going along now is actually for 4 meter bars, but this is going for the rest of the flow of Wabash. So, but yeah, it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything else? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
I'll let them know. Thank you.
Department update.
Okay. So we got a little bit going on down at Heartland, so give me just a minute. I'll give you some other information that we're working on. So we have about 600 students at Heartland right now. They'll have a better number at next meeting. It's probably about 615, but they're averaging a couple of people will drop off, about 600. Remember that the building is built for 500 capacity, so they're utilizing part of Honeywell. Some are going to Manchester University for different things, so it's kind of a conglomeration of spaces. Let's see, so the pre-nursing students are a rotation at Parkview Wabash for 2 days a week. The students have been very excited about the opportunity. They've been receiving real scenarios that they would not normally receive. They're trying to extend to Miami County and Duke Hospital as well. So that's a pretty neat thing going on. Let's see. So the negotiations are going on. The master contract negotiations are going on, just like we will at Manchester here shortly. And so there's a whole big schedule on that. We're working on that. And then the last part, which I'm familiar with, is the operation agreement. So I do recommend just kind of listening to this and reading this over the next month, and then we'll need to vote or not vote next month on whether or not we want to adopt one of these agreements or whether we want to keep it the same. Every school corporation will do one of those 2 options. So there's the operating agreement for Heartland Career Center, 1.1, which states the board members shall consist of 5 members, one appointed by the governing body of each member. So it doesn't really specify that it has to be a board member. It can be anybody. So one of the agreements, or one of the resolutions that the representative for North Miami Schools wrote is to the board of managers shall consist of 5 members, one appointed by the governing body of each member. 2, the board managers shall consist of 5 members, and the 5 members will be the superintendents of the 5 school corporations. So that'll take the board members out of the equation, put superintendents in there, and the rationale is to streamline things at Heartland, and with the building projects up to code and everything coming up. However, superintendents, the finances of Heartland are through each individual school, which is then in part through all the taxpayers. So I tend to disagree with this one, because having an elected official at each board of managers meeting, voting on the finances, voting on money issues and policy, is crucial for that, and it's also more in the form of keeping it legal, as far as I'm concerned. So I wrote a counter to that recommendation, and I stated that instead of the board of managers shall consist of 5 members, one appointed by each governing member, I put the board managers will consist of 5 members, one board member representing appointed by the governing body of each member school corporation board. The superintendent from each board shall accompany the representative to each Heartland board meeting. So this one, you'll have the board member and the superintendent together at every Heartland board meeting. Right now, you have board members that go to one meeting, and you have superintendents that go to another meeting. So bringing them together to have one meeting, 4 pairs of eyes, or excuse me, 2 pairs of eyes, two pairs of ears, from each school corporation can ensure that things get done the quickest they can get done. So addressing the North Miami's rep's concern of getting things done quickly and efficiently, this is how you do it. You actually have one board member, one representative, and one superintendent joining them at the board meeting to get things done as quickly as possible, get things back to the boards as quickly as possible, and all the different ways of viewing things. So at the meetings also, you have the superintendents that are bringing information from the admin side, and you have the board members bringing information from what the board talked about as well. So, so those are the requests or the addendums to the operating agreement. We will look at it again next month. Both of them are expired October. We need to vote on it, yay or nay, or keep the same in October. So that every school corporation is going to be doing that. So, any questions about that?
There's 3 options that we have.
Yes, there are 3 options. There's the North Miami rep addendum. There's the Manchester Schools addendum, and then there's the original agreement.
But to be fair, that's your addendum.
It is.
Manchester.
It is. Rep from Manchester, excuse me. Rep from North Miami, rep from Manchester, and then, yes, correct. So, and then all of the rationales are on both addendums for your reading pleasure. So, any other questions on that? Please feel free to contact me over the month and we can talk about that if you want to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Legislative update?
No laws being made currently, but there is always chatter, particularly with it being elections approaching, new governor, up for election. Everybody's trying to decide on what platform they are planning, what changes to public financing. They're just all over the place. They might throw some idea out there, at least to get votes, and then people try to react to say, how can that affect or would affect if it is, and if it's even feasible. So it'll just continue to have the chitter chatter. There's a lot of talk on school choice, on the voucher program and how that's hurt public schools, and where candidates are at on that. So it's just a lot of chatter. And then when it comes time closer to the first of the year, then you start seeing actually what laws may start to kind of gain some traction. Right now it's just a lot of hearsay talk and what could not happen. So no laws.
Any additional movement or changes on the graduation requirements? Okay. Thank you.
Let us know the second draft looks more promising and people like it better than the first.
I like the current, but
The gut says the second draft's probably pretty close to what it's going to end up being, maybe with some minor tweaks, but I think that second draft is going to probably stand pretty solid.
Thank you. Superintendent?
Just a couple things to bring up and some things going on. One's homecoming week, so if you get an opportunity to come out, support the boys, and really all the students Friday night against Rochester. I think parade starts at 5, games at 7. Kids are all doing dressing days and different themes all week long. I just think sitting here in my pajamas would have been good. I'm not sure if there's a pajama day or not, but in 2 weeks, September 23rd and 4th, I'll be attending the ISBA Superintendent Fall Conference in Indianapolis. I'm just looking forward to that, so it's a great time to touch base with other superintendents and see what's going on in the education world. And what hot topics or AI, I know is going to do other things we're speaking about. So I'm looking forward to that. We did solidify today for 2025 vendors for tennis court repairs and track repairs starting next summer. So, starting to move forward with some of that as bond monies become available. We did take care of some lighting in the high school parking lot, and specifically where the marching band practices. If you're ever out there at night, it's pretty dim. We did put some additional LED lighting in that area just to assist and make sure that it's a safe area for them to practice in. Fall break coming up in about a month. We'll be starting the carpeting project in the back. Replacing the carpeting in the back. As you know, the stage has already been redone, but the carpet's long overdue, so that's going to be happening during that week. Trying to look at just future projects, looking at the potential for some design build at MIS for securing an entrance there, moving an office into offices and securing an entrance, looking at some carpeting in that area, in the cafeteria and some of the hallways. I have to pull this up, sorry, say this is the wrong, I'll say it wrong if I don't. We sat in, Dr. Stevens and I, Mr. Pike, business teacher, Ms. Janady, Mr. Sword, in engineering, Ms. Leifer, sat in on an interview for a potential grant. So we should hear, we're hoping to hear by Friday. We thought the interview went very well. It was about an hour long. It is here at the University of Cell, they've got a grant. They have 4 schools right now that, this model is called the PCAP model, and that stands for, that's why I had to pull it up, so I want to make sure I get it right. It stands for, if I can find the right one, Pathways to Careers in Post-Secondary. Here's how their model is built around, the cohort model. So we would establish a cohort of 8th graders moving up. That would really ties in nicely with like several things. With Edge 85 that we talked about last year, with the new graduation requirements, with work-based learning. So the purpose of the grant is strategy 1 is relationship-centered learning. Strategy 2 is integrated hands-on curriculum. Strategy 3 is career pathways. Strategy 4 is post-secondary pathways. And strategy 5 is high school industry post-secondary collaboration. So if you think about the new graduation requirements, you think about work-based learning. This is just another piece that plugs in, but what it does is it gives us resources from the University of Indianapolis Cell Group there for mentorship, or working with other school corporations that started this last year, learning from their struggles, their, the progress they've made. The reports we're getting from them, we're hearing already from them, are that starting their cohorts has been very successful. It just kind of gives the kids a purpose and a drive and a focus, and it exposes them, to a broad swath of things, to kind of start helping them hone in as they work through their high school career. As I shared when we interviewed, I would have been a kid that would have benefited from something like this and being in a cohort like that, because I really went through my 4 years and I didn't have a clue, what I wanted to do, and I think this would have given us some exposure. So we're hoping to hear by them from Friday on the grant. We think it ties in nicely with some of the things that, some of the initiatives we already have on there that we are just beginning to roll out, and I think will marry very well with the new graduation requirement. So that's what I have.
Thank you. School board comments.
I had a question. Just curious, is it possible to maybe do the, I don't know, you said summer for tennis and track, but I thought if they could use it this spring. I don't know if it's
track in the spring and you have tennis in the spring.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know how long the things have to sit or how long it takes to do it.
When it's cold.
Well, why not? No, I'm just kidding.
The temperature has to be a certain temperature to do those things. So we'll wait until all of our students and athletes have advanced as far as they'll advance in those sports, and then they'll be able to, having done a track in a prior district, and we're not doing as much work as we did on that track. That whole process from beginning to completion was just over 30 days. So I think we'll be well within, the confines of our summer months.
Okay.
The tennis course we definitely will be well within the time frame of summer months to have those ready then for fall sports.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn. Conrad, second. Mr. Booker, all those in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.